The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining our webinar on our PTP Overview portfolio. With us we have two product managers for our PTP line. We have Sagar and Bruce. So if you have any questions in general throughout the presentation, feel free to type them into the text box on the right and we will get to them as they come in. Without further ado, here is Sagar. Here's Bruce first.
All right, so we're both, this is Bruce here, Bruce Collins, and Sagar Deshpande and I are going to sort of tag team this presentation. And today we're going to be covering the PTP portfolio, give you some sense of what are the different products that we have, what are the trade-offs and benefits of each of the categories of products, because we oftentimes get questions around which of these products makes the most sense for a different application. So we'll try to cover that in the session. So we'll kind of be going back and forth. And as Colin mentioned, we certainly have plenty of time for questions if you would like to pose any on the chat window. This session is also being recorded, so you can pick this up later on our community forum. So let me jump right into it. We talk about the agenda. We're going to go over the portfolio. We'll talk about how do I compare one of the products to another. For example, we'll get into this, but the 450i product to the 650. We'll talk about our PTP 700 because that's got a kind of a unique position in our portfolio. Sagar will go through some of the key features in a little more depth, and then we'll close out with questions and summaries of our forum and the link planner. So cover a lot of ground, but I think the presentation should take around 25-30 minutes, and then like I said, any questions that you have as they come in. So PTP portfolio within Cambium is pretty broad, and we have a lot of different capabilities, and so we oftentimes get questions around, well, which is the best one to pick? So we thought this webinar would make sense to cover that material. If you look at across the spectrum here, we have, starting on the left, the PTP 450, and then moving all the way to the right, the PTP 700. And as you move from left to right, you'll see an increasing level of performance and capability and the investment as well. So if we start over on the left, I'm going to go through each of these in a little more detail, and then we'll do a bit more of a deep dive. Effectively, this is the portfolio starting with the 450, 450i, which was introduced most recently. And then we have our 650 portfolio and the 700, which is mostly focused on government applications and national defense applications. So let's start with the PTP 450. The things that really jump out on this product is the multi-band support. So this product is available in 5 gig, 3 gig, and 900 megahertz. The most common application of this product is for enterprise access. So if you're a network operator that's serving residential consumers with your point-to-multipoint 450 platform, and perhaps you need to add an additional business customer and you want to have a dedicated service to them, a PTP 450 is a great choice to add, say, a 50 meg link to a particular business or small enterprise type customer. It's also a good solution for video surveillance, and with the 900 megahertz capability, the option to or the benefit of being able to penetrate more foliage and have better propagation is important. The product itself, we recently introduced 30 megahertz channels that will allow this product to increase up to about 190 megabits per second. So you get some pretty decent throughput at a reasonable price, and also relative to the rest of a PMP 450 portfolio, it makes it real easy to drop in because the GUI is the same, the installation procedure is the same, the accessories are the same. So if you're deploying PMP 450, this is a nice solution to sort of add on to that. And then just one specific slide on the 900 megahertz version. You see the form factor is a little bit different, and there's oftentimes some confusion about this product because we talk about it being a PTP 450 product. It's actually kind of a hybrid between the technology that comes along with a 450i, but we call it a 450 primarily because it uses that 30 volts DC power scheme. So it fits nicer with the accessories that go in line with that. So if you have an existing 900 megahertz PMP 100 or PTP 100 installation, you can go out there, use the same power infrastructure, the same installation, and swap this out and realize a much higher capacity with the 900 megahertz. Now this is in 900 megahertz. There's 26 megahertz of spectrum available. So we see most deployments in this case with the 5 megahertz channels implementation. You'll also see that Yagi antenna there. That's an optional dual polarity Yagi that can be, it's very convenient to install it. You can kind of see the radio attaches right onto that bracket. So it's quite a simple and clean installation when you put it together with that Yagi antenna.
Hey Bruce, as far as the PTP 450 in the 5 gig band, looks like we have a question on when we're going to be opening the channels to 40 megahertz.
So I'll talk, that's a good question. So we just recently introduced the 30 megahertz channel on the 450 and also what I'm showing here on the screen, which is our PTP 450i. We are going to be releasing a 15.1 software release. I expect that to be going into beta in the next week or so and being available in probably, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks out, being able to operate in 40 megahertz channels. So that's going to increase the maximum capacity, which is today about 190 megabits per second in that 30 meg channel, up to about over 250 megabits per second in a 40 megahertz channel. Our strong recommendation is to run that 40 megahertz channel on a 450i platform. So that's what I'm showing here today is the PTP 450i supporting 40 megahertz channels. So that's one of the benefits of upgrading to that 450i is you get more processing power, you get more packets per second performance. So it's going to behave a lot better at those wide channels, both 30 and 40 megahertz.
Do you happen to know specifically how many packets per second the 450i can do?
We'll talk about that in a bit. I believe the most recent measurement is around 75,000 packets per second. So that's a little more than double the 450, but we will see improvements down the road as well in that. When you look at the 450 slide here on this screen, you see that one of the things we did with the 450i is we significantly increased the processing performance. So that opens up the ability to do more streamlined and more efficient packet handling. So I'd expect to see some improvements in that as well. So a couple of other things to point out on the PTP 450i is it is a wideband radio, so it covers 4.9 to 5.925. We also recently introduced the 3 gigahertz version of this product, so it's available in the 3.5 and the 3.65 bands as well. And it does, so having that nice wideband is convenient, covers both the public safety band at 4.9 as well as the unlicensed bands at 5.1, 5.2, and 5.4 and 5.8. Also significantly enhanced the ruggedization. If you compare the 450i to a 450, you can see it follows the design, I guess, vocabulary or constructs of a 650. So it's an all-metal housing. It has both the connectorized and integrated model, and it is an IP67 based housing. So it's significantly more rugged and durable for industrial applications. It has that aux port for PoE out, and that means you can power a camera or a Wi-Fi access point that uses PoE. I can actually power that off of the auxiliary port, saving a switch port and saving some additional cabling. So again, a much easier and simpler, cleaner deployment. The radio performance itself on the 450i is actually quite strong. It's a 28 dBm transmit power. It's got that integrated with the 23 dBi gain antenna. And we've also incorporated some dynamic interference filtering with this product. So it actually does quite well with adjacent channel interference and the performance in noisy environments. So very solid radio, performs quite well, and you get a lot of flexibility with the channel performance, or the channel bandwidths in the channel spectrum availability. We'll talk about the 650 next. This is flagship of the point-to-point portfolio. Really what you think about with the 650 is it does line rate packets per second, which means whatever size packet or combination of packets you throw at it, it will be able to handle that. It's around 850,000 packets per second. Spectral efficiency is higher. It's 10.3 bits per hertz. So with a given amount of channel space, you can push a lot of capacity through. Security features, because this product is the platform that this is based on is been built to support our public safety customers at 4.9. It shares some capabilities with our PTP 700, which is excellent for national defense applications. It has a lot of security features, so I won't go into all of them in detail here, but if you're looking for a product that will tick all the boxes on a security profile or security questionnaire, this is going to be the product that'll do best in that. And then the reliability is really unquestioned with the 650. I expect that the 450i will do as well in reliability. We just don't have the years of experience, but the years of experience we do have on the 650 says that the reliability is greater than 100 years MTBF, and we do 100% testing at the factory. So the DOA arrival or dead on arrival rate is virtually non-existent on a 650, and they just run forever. I won't go into a lot of details on here, but let me point out some of the headlines. 450 megabits per second, low latency. We talked about the efficiency, and then I'll hit on some of the other attributes when we talk about a sort of a more direct comparison with the different products. So with that, let's we put together a few of these slides that kind of show how do I compare all of these products we've just been talking about. The 450 on the left migrating up to the 650 on the which is the 3 columns on the right, and the PTP 650 is available in a couple of different form factors and product I guess definitions. The standard PTP 650. We also offer a 650L, which has a small form factor antenna. If I go back a slide, you can see the picture in the upper right. There's a picture of the small form factor antenna. That's the 650L. And then the 650S is really a combination of features that's best tailored to the small cell backhaul market and is used for doing things like 4G backhaul with its built-in 1588 and synchronous Ethernet timing. So 650S is really tailored for that small cell backhaul market. You can see kind of the comparison in throughput from 190 at the 450 up to 450 megabits per second on the 650. The antenna gains and link budgets, you'll find that the 450i and 650 have very similar link budgets with the combination of transmit power and the integrated antenna gains. Of course, with the connectorized radios, you can put anything from a 2-foot dish up to an 8-foot dish on these radios, depending on the local regulatory requirements. And then as you see, the range varies a bit as you go up. All of these have pretty good range performance, with the 650 being proven out to 155 miles, 253 kilometers, with an actual live link. And you can hear more about that longest link on our website and forum, where we connected Pikes Peak out to Cheyenne, Wyoming. So also an interesting use case there. A little bit more detail, we'll talk about some of the spectral efficiency features. So one of the key attributes with the 650 is dynamic spectrum optimization, and Sagar will go through that in a little more detail. Spectral efficiency, you can see the 650 is higher efficiency. And then on that, we talked about the, here's the data on the packets per second that somebody asked about earlier. And then with synchronization, these radios can be synchronized to allow co-location of point-to-point masters on the same antenna and the same mast, so that it reduces self-interference and allows for scalability of multiple links coming from the same tower. We talked about some of these features already. I'd point out QoS. All these products support quality of service. The 650 has 8 queues, and the 450i has the traditional 2 queues that are supported with our 450 platform. So again, if you're mixing the 450 products with the PMP 450 platform, you have consistency in how quality of service is handled across those 2 different products. And then this last slide on comparison really talks about some of the more specific or niche features, but it's important to note that these features exist if you run across requirements or applications that need them. So for example, IPv6 support for management is available on the 650. There's an optical fiber port available on the 650. Both the 450i and the 650 have that PoE output port, so you can do 802.3 standards-based AT output. That again, I can power a camera or an access point from there. And then spatial diversity is a special application where I'm going to try to make a link work across a wide expanse of water or a desert or a flat surface. Spatial diversity, which can be modeled in our link planner software, is available on the 650. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Sagar, and he's going to take us through a little bit on the next few slides. Oh, okay, I'm going to take this after all. We'll get this right in the actual show. This is rehearsal. So on the 700, this is really a product that's tailored to the national defense and government applications. You can see here it's available in connectorized and connectorized plus integrated. You'll see that model that has both the integrated panel as well as the N-type connector, so I can attach to a dish. And through a software configuration, I can switch back and forth between the panel and the N-type connectors. And the other big difference here is it covers 4.4 gigahertz up to 5.925 gigahertz. So that means it's available or able to work in that NATO band 4, which is a band that's available to U.S. government organizations as well as many in Western Europe and throughout the world. You might see references to NATO band 4, and that really is that band that covers 4.4 up to 4.94 gigahertz. So I hit a lot of those points here. The product is also has it's validated to FIPS 140-2. It has NTIA certification for use both in country and out of country for compliance with the NATO band. And then, as I mentioned before, you can support both integrated, connectorized, wide bands, and then Sagar will be talking about a capability called high-capacity multipoint, and that's supported with our PTP 700. So now I'm going to hand it to Sagar.
Yeah. Thank you, Bruce. Now let's spend a few minutes to review some of our key features. Today we're going to focus on 2 important points. The first one is going to be DSO. So DSO mainly stands for Dynamic Spectrum Optimization. With this feature, the radio listens and runs the spectrum analyzer to scan bands continuously and to determine if there's a better channel available for higher throughputs. The spectrum analyzer is able to pick up narrow channels from a range of 5 megahertz to up to 45 megahertz. This is all in real time. So the PTP 650 actually proactively looks for better channel, so it can just plan. So it can plan better. In this slide, we see a snapshot of the DSO in action. We have a few channels being used between the 5.7 and the 5.8 gigahertz band, as you can see by the peaks. This is indicated by the yellow field by the spectrum analyzer, and it also provides the power level. So with this DSO, it also shows that the for an example is the 5.4 gigahertz band has a better channel because of and it has low interference. So it might be a good idea to change channels and move to this field. Some of the key takeaways from this DSO is always running in background. DSO scans all bands from 4.9 to 6.05 gigahertz. Transition from one channel to another has almost no delay, and it's seamless. And it scans from 5 megahertz channels to 45 megahertz channels. So even if there's a lot of interference, the DSO is able to pinpoint the a really narrow channel on which you can try to transmit data.
Yeah, one of the features that we introduced recently was the quick deploy positioner. This is a product that is used for rapid deployment, especially well suited for these PTP applications. I've listed a few here. We've recently deployed some of these both in government first responder type applications. So whether it's providing security at a large event or providing disaster recovery after a situation where part of the main network is down. These quick deploy positioners can be brought out to site. You power them up and they automatically go into a scan mode, and within about 3 minutes are able to connect to the other end of the link. So it's an automatic connection. We also had recently deployed some in the oil and gas industry for the drilling rigs as they're doing exploration and discovery. They can deploy these during a drilling process, and then if they have to relocate them, say after 30 days, they can move that down the road to the next drilling site, and you don't have to send a network expert out there. The radio is just automatically realigned, so it's a nice labor savings and really helps some of those rapid deployment applications.
So the next feature that we're going to focus on is called HCMP, which stands for High Capacity Multipoint. This is one of our most important software features. So just consider a scenario where you want to use video surveillance and your video speed is about 60 megabits per second on average. Instead of having 4 individual links, it's better to have one master that controls the 4 nodes as shown in the diagram. So the one master has a sector antenna that uses that to connect to 4 nodes, and using TDD you can divide up the throughput between evenly or unevenly between the 4 nodes. Some of the benefits of using HCMP feature sets are fewer radios, less tower space, and fewer antennas required. And this picture gives a good representation of how HCMP can be used. Assume there's consider the radio in the red mentioned on top of the building, and that acts like a master to the 3 nodes highlighted with the red links at the bottom. So this is like a real world scenario of how you can deploy HCMP for video surveillance. Here are some of the other applications of HCMP along with throughput. So some of the other applications are nomadic or tactical models, solo on wheels, enterprise access, and high capacity video surveillance. As the number of subscribers increase, the maximum capacity per subscriber is decreasing, and this table kind of gives you a rough idea of how much it is. So for three subscribers, it's going to be 129 megabits per second, and for up to 8 subscribers, it's going to be 49 megabits per second. Now we're going to focus on our best resources. This is something which is really important from our perspective and from your perspective to kind of understand and how better you can gain knowledge or how better you can solve problems using this. So I'm going to focus on 2 things. One is called the Link Planner and one is the community. Link Planner, as you know, is a free tool that is used to plot and design networks. It's one of our free tools, and it's really beneficial for planning your own network. It has a lot of features, and this should be generally your first step when planning or trying to deploy a network. The path profile gives you an idea of the Fresnel zone. So based on the height of the antenna, you should be able to you can try to eliminate that. With the configuration details, it gives you a detailed information with respect to TX power, RX power, maximum and antenna gain. With respect to performance, it gives you a nice summary, and it tries to best predict how it would behave in the real world. So we have a community called cambium.communitynetworks.com, and this is really an important site because we cater to multiple areas. So the first one is going to be a discussion forum. All your queries, concerns are addressed here with respect to software upgrades, hardware questions. A great example is one of the questions requested here is for PTP 450i, how do you reduce jitter? So these questions are mainly targeted to like real world problems and some quirky scenarios where it's really hard to kind of figure out, and there's no, they requires like a special answer from an expert. So this forum is really good for asking such questions, and product managers and engineers are pretty quick on responding and helping everybody who asks questions. The next one is going to be our knowledge base. This generally focuses on three main aspects: frequently asked questions, which is questions which a lot of people have been asking, and we already have a question answer mentioned for that. Getting started, which is good for like beginners to kind of ramp up and try to get to know the product and get to know the feature sets that are there. And troubleshooting. This is useful for beginners as well as experts, because a lot of times there are some difficult scenarios that are addressed over here. So generally you should start by searching in the knowledge base to figure out if the question has already been answered. If not, then you can post the question in the forum section. The next section is going to be our idea section, and we would like to hear your ideas and feedback concerning any updates or any information that you require. An example by one of our subscribers was CN Maestro and Link Estimator, and his question was, he basically asked a query was, it would be nice to have a Link Estimator integrated with CN Maestro. So basically it gives us a forum to hear your ideas and to hear your concerns and what you would like to see in the product going in future. So this gives us a good initial step to kind of understand what feature sets our customers are looking for, and we try to fulfill them as much as possible. The last section over here is your stories. We'd always love to hear your stories and see how you're doing and how are our products helping out in the real world. So there are a lot of sections on PTP stories, PMP stories, ePMP. We'd just like to hear more about your deployments and how did you go about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Sagar. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to type them in into the text box on the right. We can have a last-minute Q&A session. Sagar already kind of gave the briefing for our community page. And just so you guys know, this webinar will be, or is being recorded and will be available there, as well as it being a great place to talk with other people using Cambium or non-Cambium equipment. And if you need a place to get in contact with us, you could even get an official response from us within about a day. So we do have a question that just came in. So any details on the release of the PTP 670 product?
So we are working on a product that will be a follow-on from the 650. So we don't have a lot of material to cover on that today, but watch for a webinar, I believe, in the May timeframe for a much more details on the PTP 670. So the 670 will be compatible with the 650, so you'll be able to interoperate those two devices together. So I guess at this point I would just say watch for more information to come in the May timeframe.
Okay, cool. Is there a resource where they can find the packets per seconds for all the products? Would that be on spec sheets?
I don't believe we normally specify that or put that on the spec sheet. So you've got some data from this presentation. We'll have to take that offline and see if that's something we could put together for the broader portfolio.
Yeah.
But within the PTP portfolio, I think you've got the data here on this deck.
Okay, great. So yeah, if you're just interested in the PTP products, definitely just take a look at this webinar. You can scrub to the specific moment and just kind of pause it on that screen. If you're interested in the PMP products, post that in the community forum, and maybe we can get some dialogue going, and maybe even create some sheets that have that sort of data. It looks like we are out of questions for now. So if you guys think of any questions later, again, feel free to post it in the community and we will definitely get that answered. So thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Sagar, for the presentation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and giving us your time. And I hope you all have a great day.